was lost.
Greetings everyone, I hope you enjoyed the little meme there, but now we will be getting into part 2 of the Family Guy iceberg, and I've made you guys wait long enough, so without further ado, let's get right in. And actually, before this video starts, I just want to say I'm really sorry for taking so long to upload this. Like, you guys are giving me this great opportunity to YouTube, and I'm being a lazy asshole, so please enjoy the video. The first one we'll be doing is Peter knows about Herbert's obsession with Chris. Now, as you know in the show, Herbert is the old man that lives down the street and is basically a PDF file, let's just say, and is very interested in Chris. And the theory here states that Peter knows about that, but for some unforeseen reason, he just lets it happen and doesn't decide to do anything about it, keep Chris away from Mr. Herbert or anything. Maybe he's being paid off, or maybe there's some sort of secret alliance they have, but Peter should definitely know about Herbert's obsession with Chris. It's pretty obvious. Peter is a psychopath. This theory mentions that the fact that, if you notice over the seasons, Peter's actions have become increasingly more and more psychopathic. Like before, he was like quite simply a family guy, but now it's like he barely cares for his family. Even one episode they left it off where he said he doesn't like his kids and he just gave them an Xbox. And Peter is seriously treading down a bad path. Like, remember that Nike commercial cutaway where Peter literally kills 3 of his families and doesn't, like, repent before his execution by lethal injection? Like, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, my brother in Christ, you are absolutely god-dang diddly psychopathic. Quagmire's upbringing. Now, few know about Quagmire's upbringing. I mean, his childhood and his past are sprinkled out throughout episodes, but it's pretty damn messed up. He has a closeted gay dad and basically a kind of sexually abusive mom. And also to clarify, I'm not saying his dad being gay made his childhood worse. I'm saying that when you hide something so integral to your character deep down inside for that long, it really fucks with your character. And as you know, the famous joke, Quagmire was birthed 8 times at birth. And he even admits in that court case during the statutory rape episode that he did have an abusive childhood upbringing. He learned the ABCs from counting how many guys his mom slept with. So yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Explains why he does what he does today. If you want to know more, check out the real Glenn Quagmire theory coming up in this iceberg. Brian is a human. Now, as we obviously know, Brian in the show is a dog, but even if a dog were granted the powers to speak from birth, why does he have a human-like brain with seemingly human-like processing powers and analytical function, and is also an alcoholic and a writer? Sounded like he had the whole personality of a man before he became a dog. Family Guy clip channels. Now, this one is far worse than the Family Guy TikTok pipeline incident because this affects actual real creators on YouTube. Now, there seems, if you look up Family Guy clips, look at these long 3-hour videos of just like non-stop, like actually pretty high quality Family Guy clips, but you check the channels and they're posted on these accounts that were seemingly about something else, but just had the verification and monetization threshold. And even at one point, in order to trick the system from making it seem like it's not original content, at the end of the videos they would put like a random girl doing things to make it seem like it's their own video, which it's obviously not. So these channels are either getting hacked or they're selling them, but there's definitely something shady going on here. Opie's behavior is due to alcoholism. This theory states that Opie's behavior, you know, the guy with the weird thing in his hair and whatnot, is that all his behavior is due to alcoholism. Always goes like all the time is because he's always pissed drunk. And we know this because in an episode when they made the drinking age like 50 and above, he's not 50 and above, and he just started speaking like a normal person, which means that every time he spoke before, he was pissed drunk and made those incoherent sounds. And when you kind of deep it, that's pretty sad. Joe can walk. Now, this theory states that Joe's handicapness is all cap. Because remember in that one episode where he was like, God gave me that one time to walk, and I think I'm going to use it now and not at my daughter's wedding. And also, he could be faking for a variety of reasons. Maybe get some sort of disability check, maybe get some sort of other unseen benefits, but it is plausible that Joe can in fact walk and is not telling everyone else. I think so. The horse.
Lena, the horse is here.
Seth MacFarlane loves Alex Bornstein. This theory is that Seth MacFarlane is secretly in love with Alex Bornstein, but since she is married, he can't get with her. And this is revealed through his characters that he voices, which would be Brian, Quagmire, and Peter. And what do they all have in common? They all love Lois very much, which is voiced by Alex Bornstein. Now, personally, I don't think this theory is true, but I think there might be a little bit of credence because art reveals the subconscious mind in that weird sort of way. The Lost Episode. This is referring to an actual upload I have on my channel called Family Guy The Lost Episode, which is a creepypasta about Family Guy I wrote myself. And you guys are in for a woozy if you want to read this one. Brian's CIA Theory. Now, remember not too long ago when I was telling you that Brian had very oddly similar characteristics to that of a human? Well, the Brian CIA theory states that Brian is actually a CIA experiment in order to convert humans into animals and animals into humans and to transfer their minds, and that's why he acts so human-like. And that's probably why Peter found him on the side of the road, because when they abandoned that experiment, he was probably just left to die somewhere. The real Glenn Quagmire. If you're a subscriber to this channel, then you already know this one. If you don't, check out my video, The Real Glenn Quagmire. Enough said. Family Guy exposes Hollywood pedos. If you don't know, Family Guy has a suspiciously odd track record of exposing pedophiles in Hollywood through jokes or referencing their sexual assault allegations. Many include, I featured on my TikTok, Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, Brett Ratner, and there's even more. So, Family Guy might just be a hero in disguise, very interestingly enough. Or maybe it wants to tell us something, and we just haven't found it out yet. The Boston Bombing. This entry is in reference as how, literally, I believe like a month or two before the Boston bombing, Family Guy had an episode that featured like Peter converting to Islam and having like a Muslim friend and then planning a terrorist attack on a bridge and blowing up multiple things. And in the episode, during the Boston Marathon, Peter did commit an atrocity which led to the deaths of numerous people as a gag. And then later it happens. Pretty freaking insane. Family Guy's on some shit. Stewie is Meg's son. This theory is in reference to a particular joke that Lois made during one Family Guy episode where it was like, come on, you know how Stewie's birth was so hard on Meg's body, and then they kind of awkwardly and dismissively laugh it off as just a goof. And not only that, there's also another piece of evidence that's highly underlooked in the Stewie's Meg's son theory, which is this image right here, which shows what is obviously a bootleg C-section type scar, which would indicate and line up perfectly contextually since Meg's C-section for Stewie would probably be bootleg and hard on her body. So it is very, very probable that Meg is Stewie's son. Peter is dead. This is a theory where the Griffins are basically a normal family, except Chris has Down syndrome. And one day when Meg was driving drunk home from a party with Chris, she crashed the car, killing both of them. And this angered and upset Lois so much that she killed herself while she was pregnant with Stewie. And Peter, realizing all this, was set into a coma, and then his imagination is where the show Family Guy takes place, and that Brian is actually a representation of his smart self, while the Peter we know in the show is his dumb self. And Joe, Quagmire, and Cleveland are his friends surrounding him while he's in a coma in the real world. And also, that's why Chris is so dumb in the show, because he had Down syndrome in real life. That's why Meg was hated so much, because she killed him and inadvertently caused Lois's death in Peter's mind. And that's why Stewie is so smart, because Lois was pregnant with him and he had unlimited potential to Peter. So yeah, pretty sad theory, honestly. Part 9, The Point of No Return. Season 8. As many of you already may have known this theory since I have a full video on it, Season 8 of Family Guy was unequivocally disturbing compared to all the other seasons. There was more violence, blood, and gore, and allegedly a total of 3 hours of animated blood, violent, gore, and sexual themes were cut from the show because they were so disturbing and could not be put on the audience. This was allegedly because Seth MacFarlane was really dissatisfied with the way Family Guy was going and wanted the show to take a more mature approach. And thus he hired this guy named Steve, which had some really deep ties and connections in Hollywood, and a very scary man, and suggested all these themes, and there was some very disturbing stuff cut from the video. If you want the full explanation of the theory, I suggest you watch my video about it, why Season 8 is so off. The Quahog Elites. This theory talks about the Quahog Elites. You already know the two, but there are many more that basically run Quahog from the inside, from the shadows, and they basically pull all the strings. And there's a lot deeper ties in this theory, and the Quahog Elites is actually going to be my next full theory on my YouTube. So look out for that, because I've uncovered some crazy shit. Why didn't death appear when Brian died? This poses a very genuine and real question. Why didn't death appear when Brian died in the show for a couple episodes? And I actually have a good explanation for this. This can be used as evidence for the Brian CIA theory, in which Brian is a human, which Brian's human body already died. So according to death and how that framework works, he's already technically dead. And that's why death didn't appear when his body basically expired. But very interesting though. The finale will be Brian pitching Family Guy to Fox. Personally, this one is my favorite Family Guy theory, because I think this is the realest possible ending or finale for Family Guy. I think because Brian or Seth MacFarlane is represented through Brian, that he will be pitching Family Guy to Fox as the final episode, and it will all come full circle. And I think personally this would be a very beautiful ending for the show, and would just round it up perfectly. The characters and everything, I could see it right now, and it would be a very emotionally charged moment. But I hope Family Guy never ends, but I also hope this happens so we can all move on to greater and better things, but who knows. And with that, this concludes part 2 of the Family Guy iceberg. This was a really ambitious project by myself. Honestly, I think I bit off a little more than I could chew, but I'm glad I got it out, and once again, I am incredibly sorry for how long it took for me to get this out. And by the way, for everyone that made it to the end, I want you to comment down Family Guy conspiracy verbatim in the comments if you've made it this far, because this iceberg was insane, and I'll be actually using it as a roadmap for all my future videos, and then to infinity and beyond, basically. All right, thank you guys for listening. Have a wonderful evening. Ooh, ha, 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 ha.